Alright, hello my bookish friends. Welcome to another reading vlog where I'm going to be reading new release thrillers in this video, 4 of them. Sorry, my name's Elizabeth. This is Reading Riley. Welcome, it's a vlog. I just finished the last one, so I'm filming this intro in the future. So let me tell you about what we're going to be reading. First of all, I read The Vanishing Hour by Serafina Novaglass. Next, I'll be reading I Didn't Do It by Jamie Lynn Hendricks. The next one I'll be reading for this video is Not So Perfect Strangers by L.S. Stratton. Lastly, I will be reading The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. Those are the 4 books that I'm going to be reading, and hang in with me if you want to know how I ended up feeling about them. Let's not bullshit around. Let's just get right into it. This is my second Serafina Novaglass. The first one I read from this author was On a Quiet Street, and really loved it. And that one, as well as this one, just so readable. I've been sucked in since I picked it up. I can't look away. It's like I'm sucked into it. I don't know how else to explain that, but I'm just in it. I'm there and I'm happy. It's distracting me from all the cleaning that I'm doing. I'm just here for it. I didn't reread the description of this before I started it. I kind of remembered what it was about, but I just kind of wanted to go into it. And just now I went back and read the description, and it's odd because they only mention one character in the synopsis on Goodreads, and really I think there are 3 main characters in this story. We're following Grace, who they mentioned on Goodreads, but they're also following Kira as well as Aiden. All 3 of these we get perspectives from, so it's back and forth. This was similar to the other story that I read from her. It was multi-POV, 3 or 4 POVs, and we're in Maine. Grace is the caretaker for this inn, and it's just now becoming the off season. People are leaving. She's like, thank God, I get the place to myself. And so she's locked up. She's got her dog. She's really reminding me of Emma, actually, from The Last Word, the new Taylor Adams that I read recently. She's got that same vibe, like she's got a past that she's hiding from. She just wants to be alone. She's hanging out with her dog, etc. We know going in that she was a victim of kidnap and torture, possibly sexual assault. I don't even know. I'm 75% in right now, and I don't know the details of her story other than shit went down. She was kidnapped. She was taken hostage.
I don't know if you would call it hostage, but she was taken.
She's traumatized. She escaped her assailant, and now that's why she's trying to hide from the world. Also, we're following Aiden, who is coming back to this small town because his father is missing. His 73-year-old father's gone missing. His mom's freaking out. His brother is like an ex-addict who lives at home with his mom, and he's got all this family drama, so he doesn't want to stay with them, so he goes to stay at this inn where Grace is working, and she doesn't really want to take him in because she's like, I thought I was going to have the place to myself, but technically they're not closed yet, so she can't turn him away. And then we're also following Kira, whose daughter has recently gone missing, and Kira's in this town trying to find out what happened to her daughter, Brooke. Her daughter disappeared couple of weeks ago. No one knows what happened to her, and people in this town, like, she's trying to question people, she's trying to figure out what's going on. People are being real weird, they're being real standoffish, like maybe they know something but they don't want to talk to her about it. But she's determined. She is determined to figure out what happened to her daughter, and I think we're realizing that all 3 of these stories are connected in some way. I still don't know how they're connected. We're learning little bits of backstory as we go. We have the 3 different perspectives. The very first chapter is also a new perspective, which I presume is Brooke, the daughter that went missing, who is still alive. This is chapter 1. She's alive. She's being held captive. Somebody is bringing her food and water every day. She seems like she's in rough shape. I'm assuming this is Brooke, Kira's daughter, but I don't know. So yeah, I'm invested. I'm happy with this. I'm happy with the writing, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm gonna finish this tonight probably. It's a super quick audiobook. I'm listening to it on 1.5 speed, and it said it was like 5.5 hours at that speed on SCRIBD. Tomorrow, I don't want to do anything except to read. My house is clean. I'm a happy camper right now. For right now, it's feeling like a 3.5, 4-star, depending on how this ending goes. So I'll let you guys know when I have finished it. It is Sunday, and we have better lighting. I did my roots. I put some makeup on, feeling much better in general. And I finished the Vanishing Hour last night. I finished it all in one day. Started it yesterday morning, finished it last night before I went to bed. Super quick read. And I really liked it. I think I'm landing on 4 stars for this one, but like a solid 4 stars. When I finished it, I was confused. I'm still confused. I'm still not really sure what happened. Like if I missed something or if it was meant to be kind of not explained. She does a really great job with her characters where she goes through and ties up all the loose ends. But as far as that last twist, like I think what I heard was the twist. This whole time I was waiting for like this last minute zinger. Like I wanted that last minute zinger. And I think I got it, but it's weird because there was no like full explanation of it. It was just like a little like side comment. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of where I thought this was going. But the way this is written, it's done in a way where I had 5 timelines going in my head at all times. And I'm like, okay, because she said this, I think this could go this way, this way, this way, this way. And so I'm constantly, it's like the multiverse. I'm constantly like crossing off timelines. No, it's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one. And so that's what I loved about this book, because it just kept me going. And it's not like you have to like really overthink, although maybe I should have, because I'm feeling a little bit gaslit by this book right now. Like,
was my reality real? I don't know.
I honestly need to talk to somebody about this, because I just need to reread it. I don't know. I'm not sure what the hell happened, but I liked it. There's definitely an elegance in the way that Serafina Novaglass weaves her plots, which I really, really respect and appreciate. There are really great small town East Coast vibes in here, and it's like these 3 characters that we're focusing on, they are so related, but not in ways that you might expect. And I actually ended up really enjoying all 3 perspectives of this. There was not one single perspective where I was like, oh, I don't want to listen to this person again. I had a good time. So yeah, I think this is a solid 4-star thriller. Cannot complain. Also, this morning, while I was doing my roots and getting ready for the day, I started I Didn't Do It by Jamie Lynn Hendricks. Oh, this is blurbed by Ashley Winstead. It says, all hail the queen of the page turner. Interesting. So I am listening to this on audio. I'm liking the audio a lot because it has a full cast. So even though I have felt like since we started it, I'm just being introduced to a lot of characters, this gets right into the action. I don't feel overwhelmed by it because I can kind of differentiate, even if I miss out on the beginning where it says whose chapter is as I'm listening, I can kind of tell by their voice, by the narrator, whose perspective it's in. So it's really helping me with that. What is this about? We're following authors in this. Are we surprised? I know. We're following thriller authors. They're at a thriller convention called Murder Palooza. One of the authors is murdered. Just at the very beginning, we honestly maybe get like a chapter in before this person gets murdered. And so you're like, okay, we're in it. And we're following 4 different perspectives of different authors. They're all at different phases in their careers. They all have some kind of connection to this woman who was murdered. Her name was Kristen. We're following Vicky, and Vicky is kind of Kristen's competition. We're following, what was her name? Suzanne, I think. And she is the up-and-coming author. She is like in her early 20s and she's really obsessed with being famous. She just wants to be famous. We're following, what are the guys' names? There are 2 guys. I think Davis is one of them, and he is like the it guy. He is the guy who is so popular right now. He's in his 30s, kind of narcissistic, and he's at the top of the charts. He just got a big movie adaptation, all of the things. And then Mike Brooks, I think is the other one. And Mike Brooks is past his prime. He used to be Davis, but now he's really just trying to like hang in there. His last few books have not gone over well. He's got a new one coming out with a mysterious co-author that nobody knows about. They each get a text message after Kristen is murdered that says something that this person knows about them and says, you might be next. Then they realize that there is this new Twitter account called M-Palooza Next to Die or something. It's only following 4 people, and of course it's these 4 authors, and this person is communicating with them through this Twitter and through text messages that are like untraceable. So far I'm into it. I'm into it. I'm only, where am I at? I think I'm about like 80 pages in, so right about here. A lot's happening so far. I am enjoying it. I just saw one of my friends give this not such a great review, or I think they DNF'd it. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a situation where it's actually good if you finish it. And of course, I'm gonna just try to have my own opinion about it. And so far, it's so good. I'm enjoying it. I need to film my anticipated releases for Q3. I need to wash my car. I want to clean out my cupboards in my kitchen because they are just ridiculously out of order and just mashed in there, and it's driving me crazy. And then I want to read. And I think that's all I want to do today. My husband just left to go out with his friends on the boat, and I said, nope, I'm staying in. So we're here. I'm with you. This is what we're doing. We're going to hang out. I'm going to film first, get that out of the way, and then back to the book. Oh, this Texas heat is no joke. It's 95 degrees out, and I've just sweat off every inch of makeup I had on. Good morning. It's Monday. I just finished I Didn't Do It literally moments ago. I'm about to head out the door to work. For those of you that have been wondering about my new job, I'm still trying to figure out reading times. Like I was able to get 2 books in this weekend, which is great. I'm still trying to find a balance though between my reading and like work life and family life and trying to get healthy and just like a million things. So, you know, stumbling through as usual, but everything is going relatively good. Anyway, the book. Just finished it. I liked this. I don't think this is a thriller per se. I think it's more of a mystery, but I loved all the kind of like insider publishing industry stuff in here about the clickiness, about book Twitter. There's so much about book Twitter in here, and I technically am on Twitter, but I've like haven't been on there in years. But I guess that's where everything happens. That's where all the drama happens. And there's a lot in here about Twitter. Like everything that happens in this book originates on Twitter, and so I think she's trying to say, hey, maybe Twitter has a little too much power over the publishing industry, which, you know, is probably true. Again, I liked all of the perspectives. There wasn't one in particular that I did not like. I felt like all 4 of these authors, authors, were so different, and yet you could probably pin like a real life author and say like, oh, maybe they were influenced by that person. Vicky in particular, she was doing this weird thing where she kept self-editing as if she was writing her POV because it was in first person, and it was almost like if somebody had been editing her writing and say, oh, well, don't say actually, or don't say that adjective, or don't say very, and she'd like cross it out as she goes. And I thought that was weird at first because she was the only perspective that felt like she was like writing, but I think that's just something she does in her head, that like kind of self-editing after having been in the publishing industry for so long. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like, the character work was good, and there were little things like that about all of each character, and so you really feel like you get to know them. The twist was good. It wasn't anything that had my jaw on the floor, but it was fun. And the inclusion of this like thriller convention, it was very meta in a way. And of course, it's a book about authors, so I liked that. Oh, apparently self-published romance authors are like the lowest on the totem pole in publishing. I didn't know that. There's a lot of shit about self-published romance authors. Did not know. Overall, I think this was good. I'm gonna give it, I think, probably 3.5 stars. I think I'm gonna read Not So Perfect Strangers next. From what I know about that one, or from what I've heard about that one, is that it has a lot of social commentary. So I'll catch up with you guys when I've read something.
Nowadays, we're working at the same place. I'm still here, still bright when the night comes, still burning, still bright when the night comes. You kick it to me and I make it better for you. Kick it to me, I gonna make you better for you. Oh, kick it to me, I can make it better for you. Kick it to me, I can make you better for you. Kick it to me, I can make it better for you. Kick it to me, I can make you better for you. Oh, kick it to me, I can make it better for you. Make it better, cause it's all better. I didn't feel it on the first day, but now I got it in the worst way. And don't it feel alright? I get it better and it gets better every day. I didn't think it was a good.
Hello, it's Tuesday morning and I am off to work. Boys, behave. These two are rowdy AF right now, so apologies. Anyway, I started Not So Perfect Strangers, and I watched the trailer last night for the Hitchcock movie, Strangers on a Train, and then it kind of like, okay, now I know what's happening. So the story is about these two women. There's a black woman, Tasha, and then a white woman, Madison. They're both in terrible marriages. We start off where Madison is at this party with her husband. She finds him cheating, and she runs out into the hotel street and just gets into this random car, and it's Tasha's car. And Tasha's like, oh, hi, who are you, lady? And so they kind of have this acquaintance. They go back to their lives. We learn more and more about, oh, I should tell you how far I am into this. I think I'm about 25-30% in right now. We learn more and more about each of their lives and their husbands. And poor Tasha, like, I hate her husband so much. For 20% of this, like, now I'm at 30%, I'm just now starting to enjoy this. Boys, no. I was very skeptical, and which is odd because I went in optimistic, but I just don't like these characters, and especially I don't like Madison's character. She's really annoying to me. She's, 34 and talking about how old she is, which is like a trigger point for me because I'm 36, and she's talking about how she counts her calories all day, every day, and she can't get over 110 pounds, and she's just annoying me. I'm like, where's the social commentary? Where does the social commentary come in? Because that's what I heard about this. But now that I understand the concept, which I'm going to tell you because I don't think it's a spoiler if you're aware of Strangers on a Train at all, more so than I was, I guess, then you're going to understand that this plot is about how these two women who are seemingly unrelated, seemingly do not know each other, plot to kill each other's husbands. That's the plot, and that is where the social commentary comes in, because when you think about a white woman and a black woman, you're going to have to compare how it might be a little easier for the white woman to get away with this. How if a black woman is caught up in any kind of or entangled in anything that resembles a crime, she's going to have different consequences than this white woman. So I'm back in it. I'm a little more interested now. Not loving the writing. It's dual perspective, so we go back and forth between these two women's perspectives. Yeah, it's fine as of now, and yeah, I've got to go to work, so I still have to make my sandwich for lunch. So I'm gonna head out, but hello, good morning. It's Wednesday, and I'm about to head into work, but I was listening to Not So Perfect Strangers on the way here, and I'm having some thoughts, and I don't think I actually have enough time to have as nuanced of a conversation about this as it deserves, but I need to get it out while it's still fresh in my mind. And essentially, there was just a moment, a scene with Tasha and her son that was just really hard and beautiful and sad and so many things, and it almost brought me to tears. And I keep thinking about the social commentary in this and the choice to have, you know, a white woman and a black woman. And I'm feeling like I'm obviously identifying with Tasha. I think that's intentional. I definitely think that's intentional, but I think it is also, sorry, there's people walking by. I look weird. Tasha is very three-dimensional. She is a three-dimensional character. I think she is very well written. On the other hand, Madison is lacking nuance. She's very villainized and she doesn't have any redeeming qualities. So now I'm like, what's the point of making this about race if we're not going to dig into the nuance of both sides? It feels biased. And it's cringy for me to even say that because I'm talking about a black author here that's writing about racism, and I feel like a piece of shit for even saying that. But like, I'm just trying to understand the choice there, and I'm not done. I'm like 85% in, so you know, it could be that, you know, we get to that, so there's still, you know, there's still time for these questions to be answered in my mind. But like, I'm just confused, I guess, because I hate Madison. She's irredeemable. So I just don't know where she's going with that, and I'm confused. And I think that's just something that's bothering me, but generally I'm enjoying this much more than I was at the beginning. But I think this is definitely making me think, which I guess it's supposed to. Anyway, oh, it's 9:01. I gotta go. Bye. Okay. I don't have much time. I'm about to go into work. It's Friday. I want to say, God, I'm so awkward when I'm doing this in the parking lot. I finished Not So Perfect Strangers. It took me a little while, but I got through it. And I want to say I'm embarrassed because I overthought it as usual. And are we surprised that I overthought something? No, we're not. We're not. This book is not... Also, I feel like I was misled. Because the book is not written for the social commentary. It is undoubtedly a part of the story because of the characters we're following. And so obviously there are little hints of it here and there because we have to be realistic about the world that we're living in. But this story is not about that. No, this is a more diverse than typical domestic thriller. Go into it with those expectations. Do not go into it thinking that it's like trying really hard to say this. No, it's not. It's not. The end was fine. It was a little bit twisty and a little bit, you know, a little bit of a ride, but I don't love it. I think I'm probably going to give it 3 stars, maybe 3.5. And I haven't decided yet, but I just started on The Whispers by Audrey. No, what is her name? Audrain. Something Audrain. Is it Audrain? You know what I'm talking about. And I'm already feeling more at home with this one, though I also feel I'm on chapter 5. I also feel like I need to like start it over because there are so many characters and couples and their children, and this one's super suburban. Couples and their children were already playing with time. It's jumping back and forth between June and September. I'll tell you more about it later. I'll give you a better description of what the book is about once I figure it out. But already I feel like it's going to start talking about more of the things that I'm interested in. Not that I'm interested in, but that I can personally relate to. It's going to talk about women and our place in the world and expectations and those sort of things. So I am drawn to that, and surprisingly so, because I did not love The Push. Although I think I did not, Ashley Audrain, that's her name. I think I did not love The Push because I went into it expecting it to be like a super twisty thriller, and it was more of like a family drama. It was more suspense, and it wasn't as dark as I thought it was going to be, but I did like the writing. So I'm already feeling like this writing is going to sit well with me, and like it is nuanced, and I'm enjoying the conversations that are being had. So anyway, I gotta go into work. I feel like I'm actually semi put together today, which is A nice change. Anyway, I'll talk to you later.
First day, but now I got it in the worst way. Oh, why don't it feel okay? I get it better, it gets better every day. I didn't think it was a good look. No, you get to worry that we could love. Oh, and don't it feel okay? I get it better and it gets better every day. I didn't feel it on the first day.
Okay, hi, it's Monday again. I have been slowly going through all of the books, and I just finished The Whispers last night by Ashley Audrain. I'm so glad we ended on this one because I actually really loved this. In fact, I think I've given this 5 stars. Not that it's faultless, but I love what she did with this. And I feel like I've been kind of stingy with my 5 stars lately. And I think this deserves it. I really do. So I never really checked back in with you guys before I finished this. So I kind of want to give you a synopsis and then I'll tell you what my thoughts about it. Essentially, I know I said we were following so many people, but really we're only following 4 women. Whitney, who's like the boss bitch. She's the breadwinner in her family. She supports her family. She's not really into motherhood per se, but she does have 3 kids. And a lot of the same themes I saw in here as were in the push, as far as these expectations of motherhoods, what if you don't connect with your children, generational trauma, things like that. And Whitney was kind of different. She's different from the other moms. We're following all 4 of these moms. They are all neighbors. They all live in this kind of very nice, posh neighborhood. There's a lot of discussion in here about privilege as well. We're also following Blair, who lives across the street from Whitney, and she and her husband live with her daughter, Chloe, who's the same age as Whitney's oldest. Blair is kind of like the one who motherhood comes easily to, or at least that's what it seems like. She's the one that has her shit put together, but she's questioning her space in life. And then we're following Rebecca, who doesn't have children, but who's been trying to have children for years and years with her husband. And she works in the hospital. She's a doctor or a surgeon maybe. She's had many miscarriages, so huge trigger warning for miscarriages because it gets deep into that. So huge trigger warning for that. She and her husband he wants to stop trying, but she's kind of obsessed with becoming a mother. And then we have Mara, who is the next door neighbor to Whitney, and Mara is an older woman. She lives there with her husband, and we learn about her backstory, how she got to be there. She's an immigrant, and she kind of just hears everything that's going on in the neighborhood. She also has like trauma in her past. So yeah, that's kind of the cast, the main cast. And what this story revolves around is that one day Whitney is heard yelling at her oldest son Xavier at a birthday party that they're hosting at their house. She's just like relentlessly yelling at him. And so the other moms, of course, are judging her. The dynamic kind of changes in the neighborhood around her and her place as a mother. And then 6 months later, this whole story, we're going back and forth between September and June. 6 months later, her son Xavier, who's 10 years old, ends up falling out of a window. And so there's a lot of playing with time in this where we are going back and forth between before and now. When Xavier's in the hospital, we don't know if he's gonna live, we don't know what's going on, and we don't actually find out what really happened that night until the very last chapter of this story. And so it does sound kind of like, yeah, suburban uppity bullshit. I get it. But what she does so well with this is nuance. She doesn't spell it out for you. Really, like, your impression of this book could be whatever you put into it. You don't have to overthink it, but also you can. There are so many things in there where we're talking about women and expectations of women, like I've already mentioned, but like none of these women are good or bad. None of them. And I love that exploration of that gray area. Everything is so gray in here. And so we're kind of taking these topics and she's just putting it out there and saying, hey, what do you think? What do you think about this? Was this person wrong to have done this? Was this person wrong to have wanted more from her life? Was this person wrong to have suspected her husband of cheating? And you really, like, it leaves it up to the reader to decide what they think about this. And I think it's just so well done. The pacing could have been a little quicker, but the chapters are super short, and so I felt like it was easy to flip through. And I really liked her writing. Let me give you a couple examples of like the writing, because it's not over the top, it's not presumptuous, it's just, or not presumptuous, I should say, it's not pretentious, but it just makes you think. Are you kidding, Whitney thinks? Are we really going down this road as if wanting any more for oneself would be excessive? As if they must satisfy the quota for selflessness, and only then, after the accommodating and the pleasing, can they be anything else. It's a kind of voluntary death in a way. This really reminds me of like Night Bitch, like that kind of conversation about women in general. And so we're saying these things about like being, like, as a mother, you're expected to be selfless. You're expected to dote on your family. You're expected to have everything, all the ducks in a row and everything lined up and ready to go. But what does it look like if you don't do that? Because the women who don't do that, like Whitney, who, you know, makes great money, she supports her family, but she's never really slipped into that mothering role. And so, yeah, she hires help. And yeah, things run more smoothly when she's not around. And we look at her and we judge her. We judge her. They judge her. So it's like, what's the right move? What's the balance there? His cruelty was covert. People are rarely who they seem, but sometimes it's the good ones who do the very worst things. Just another example of kind of our expectations juxtaposed with reality. When has she ever made a choice with only her needs in mind, just because she wanted to? Put herself before her own family, put their happiness at risk for her own. She never has, no matter the cost to herself. She's never been selfish, so reckless, so cruel. She is a mother, she is a wife, she is a good person. Like, just all of these conversations that are being had, and within that is actually a twisty plot. It's pretty damn twisty, and towards the end, a lot of things start shifting, and you're like, whoa, what happened? The main twist here I did catch, and I saw it coming because it felt a little too obvious for me, but the ending is what really satisfied me. And I say that like from a personal perspective because I don't know that it's going to be satisfying for everybody. This is not tied up in a bow. Like, there are things you find out that you don't know how it turns out. You don't know how, when that person finds out about it, how they're going to react to it. And so in a sense, it really does kind of feel like it's ending a little bit abruptly, but also the last line of this is so, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of terrifying in a way because you know the direction that things are going to go in, even though you don't know exactly how it's going to turn out. And you feel that sense of justice, but also you're like, but. So yeah, anyway, I really loved this one. I'm giving it 5 stars. I feel like I went into this with the right expectations. I really respect this author. I respect her writing, and I just really enjoyed this. So altogether, we read 4 books for this video, and I think I ended up with a 3-star with Not So Perfect Strangers, which I would still recommend. I think I definitely went into that one with the wrong expectations. Go into that just looking for kind of a twisty domestic thriller with a little bit more diversity than our typical domestic thrillers have. And then I got a 3.5 star with I Didn't Do It by Jamie Lynn Hendricks. And this one, I think what I liked most about this, even though it's not necessarily a thriller, I would say this is more of a mystery, but I loved that kind of insight into the publishing world. I loved that, and I loved the all the talk about Twitter, and it just felt very current. It felt very now. It felt insightful, and it was a fun mystery. And then I gave a 4-star to The Vanishing Hour, and the thing that I loved the most about that was that it made me think. It made me have all of these different avenues as I was reading it that I had to check off. Okay, what's happening now? It's like the kind of writing that gives you clues so that like you can figure it out along the way, but also a lot of red herrings in there, and a lot of, is it red herring or red heron? I think it's herring, right? I don't know. A lot of stuff to distract you. And so the whole time I was super invested trying to figure out, okay, which way is it going? Which way is the right way? Which way is the wrong way? I really liked that about that. And I found that to be true in the other book that I read from Serafina Novaglass as well. And then we ended with The Whispers, which is going to be a 5-star book. I really loved this one. So that's it for my new release thriller reading vlog. If you've made it to the end, let's see, what can we do? Let's do like, if you made it to the end of this, give me like a little house emoji for like suburbia. And then I'll know, just to know who watched the whole thing. I appreciate you guys so much nonetheless, whether you did watch the whole thing or not. You guys are the best. And I will see you soon with another video. Coming up, I'm going to be announcing the next 3 months of the Midnight Society Book Club book picks and co-hosts. And then don't forget, Sunday, June 25th, coming up is going to be the live show for the Midnight Society Book Club for June. We're reading The Marriage Act. The Marriage Act show is at 1 p.m. Central Time. So yeah, come join us if you like. And don't forget that life is short, so read Riley. Do I have anything to cheers with? I don't. Cheers and goodbye!